With a raw food issue and bacteria, certainly you're in the same situation I am, where veterinarians are very concerned. They believe that we're promoting potentially a pathogenic food source. And what I tell my veterinary clients or veterinary colleagues is, if you are that concerned about bacteria, then you could just consider having all the benefits of raw food without the bacteria and feed sterile. But those beneficial bacteria actually help to feed an innately strong immune system.
Right.
So if you have a resiliently strong animal, you don't need to feed a sterile raw food.
No.
Those options are available on the market. They're just not necessarily required or necessary for
Well,
healthy
they're not
animals.
necessarily, if you're going to be paying the money and doing all of that to get a really healthy food, you might as well get all the benefits from
Yep.
it if you can.
Yep.
There's a disadvantage to feeding a food that's completely sterile, in my opinion, but on the other hand, they do get to still lick each other's butts and get bacteria that way if they
They
want
do.
to.
There are other ways. You can eat dirt and plants, house
can.
plants and poo outside.
Yes, you can. You can do
Yes.
that. Right.
So when veterinarians say, don't ever consider feeding raw food, it could kill your pet. I have to laugh, because have you ever had a single, and all of the thousands of clients that I've had feed their pets raw food, I have never had a dog get sick from eating raw food. I've never had a client get sick from eating raw food. Nationally speaking, there's never been a recall pertaining to raw foods causing illness in dogs or cats. Have you seen any?
Never.
Yeah, me either. Never.
So they'll get normal illnesses. So you can have an animal who eats raw food who can get sick.
Of course.
And then people immediately, like if they go to the emergency clinic, they'll quarantine them and say, oh my gosh, it's because of the raw food. It's like, it's because there's actually a GI virus going around.
Right.
And they picked it up.
Right.
And that's fine. But it's very different. I have yet to have seen any of the dogs and cats, hundreds of animals who eat raw food, who eat themselves healthy every day and look fabulous on the raw food with whatever bacteria is in there. The fact that we fool ourselves into thinking that raw food has more bacteria and more pathogenic bacteria in it than any other type of food, and that's the thing that's put out to veterinarians so that they panic, it's crazy.
It is crazy, especially because it's human grade meat.
Yes.
It's the exact same meat that you would be purchasing at the store for your family.
Right.
And do you need to be cautious about surfaces? Of course.
Well, you should with kibble, with
Exactly.
canned food.
Exactly. You need to be cautious about the fact that you're handling a raw meat product.
Right.
But other than that, it's the best quality raw meat that you could ever consider feeding your family with, or your furry family. It's all the same quality meat. So I do find it interesting that veterinarians tend to promote some of this fear pertaining to raw foods, and they're not even aware that there are options for sterile raw food.
Right.
And they also don't recognize that there's never been a recall associated with pet illnesses pertaining to raw food, unlike kibble, unlike canned.
I do think that marketers know that one of the best ways to motivate people to do anything is fear. And that's something that really irritates me, because using fear without any foundation is what seems to be happening when you're dealing with raw food.
It is. And when veterinarians haven't taken the time to educate themselves, they're relying on the pet food industry to educate them.
Right.
And the pet food industry is doing a really poor job.
Well, they're doing the job that they want to do. And veterinarians aren't getting the real answers. Yeah.
And so that's where we're at.
It's sad. Right, buddy? What do you think?